Go.
Good evening. To me, optimism is, have you ever thought what you would do if you were told you had 6 months to live? What if you were told you had an incurable disease that would progressively get worse? Do you think that you could be optimistic about your future? I'm not sure that I could be, but I know someone who was and is optimistic about this news. My mom. On April 19th, 2002, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. MS is an autoimmune disease that affects the central nervous system. The symptoms can be mild, like numbness in the limbs, or severe, like paralysis or blindness. I was only 5 when my mom was diagnosed, but I don't remember anything in my life changing. She still came home, cooked dinner, and played with us. I do remember when she had a relapse, which is when a new symptom appears or an old one gets worse. She had to take steroids. I remember seeing her cry for the first time. After a few days, she was back to normal. After 3 years, she could no longer work. She was using a cane most of her time, and since her job required lots of walking, she just could not do it. She was also very tired all of the time. I remember asking her to come out and play catch with me. She would do it even though I could tell she was so tired. Our games of catch got shorter and shorter. I was excited when she told us that she would no longer work. Maybe she could spend some time in my classroom and would not be as tired as before. I asked her if she would be a class mom. Without hesitation, she said she would try. She not only tried, she was great at it. Plus, she helped at different school events. I was so excited. I never knew how tired it made her. She never showed it. Life with my mom at home was great. Yes, a few things changed, like my dad, who had been a stay-at-home dad, went back to work. But Mom's health was getting worse. When I asked her to come out and play catch, she could not. She would come out and watch me, but throwing the ball was too hard. I remember feeling a little sad as her MS got worse. Through all of this, my mother never, ever got mad at us or appeared to be sad. If she was ever sad or mad, she never let us see her that way. I have very few memories of my mother when she did not have MS. She was always optimistic. She has a mantra that goes, I have MS, but MS does not have me. In 2007, my mom and dad decided to move us to South Carolina. Dad moved here first to close on our new house, and Mom drove us across the country by herself. She decided that if we were going to drive across the country, we were going to see some great things, like Mount Rushmore and the St. Louis Arch. We went to skate parks in most of the cities we traveled through, and laughed our way across the country. Her optimism kept us going. But the MS was still there. After trying many different treatments, Mom was approved for a new therapy called Tysabri. No more needles! But after her first infusion, she developed a terrible headache. The headache lasted a week and actually kept her down for the first time ever. We all knew this headache must have been bad to keep her flat on her back for an entire week. Did she complain? No. Once her headache was gone, she was right back to what my dad calls overdoing it. When people learn that my mom has MS, they usually apologize to her. She always thanks them and then tells them, don't worry about me. Things could be so much worse. This is how she lives every day. She never gives up. She is so generous even when she does not feel well. We spent spring break this year in Virginia. At breakfast one morning, Mom noticed an elderly woman who was having a hard time getting up. No one in the restaurant did anything to help this lady except my mom. She walked over and helped her stand up. The lady thanked her as they walked towards the door. Have you seen the commercial where one person does something to help someone else and another person watches? And that person helps someone, and so on and so on? I like to call this the optimistic domino. That is my mom. She is never embarrassed to help someone or to take a stand on something she believes in. Even if it is not the popular stand, she does not back down. She's never rude or cocky, simply nice, generous, and always optimistic. She's not just a great mom, she's a great woman. She's not optimistic about having MS, she is optimistic about the life she has despite having MS. I am so proud of who she is. I like to think that her optimism is contagious. When I think of the definition of optimism, I think of finding the bright side to a bad situation. My mom has always taught me that your attitude is your choice. She also believes that if you are optimistic, people around you will catch on and the feeling will spread. I hope that I will be like my mom. Having such an optimistic mother has taught me to live for today, remember yesterday, and wait for tomorrow. Thank you.